And then we've got this thing called detox. So how does it fit in with all that we've just said, firstly?
Mhm.
And then why is it important?
It's not about the bug, but it's about the host response to the bug and how that's where we can really, create resilience within our body. And detoxification and drainage and supporting the lymphatic system are essential, to keeping our physical bodies healthy and resilient. We're all interconnected. When we think about anatomy, right? We think about these systems and these tissues and these organs and these cells. And yes, there's communication, but it's separate, right? But the living matrix, I think, allows us to look at, beyond biochemical pathways for detoxification and looking at health. And, this idea that, from our skin, through our interstitium, through our connective tissue, through our fascia, through what are called integrins that cross over the cell membrane, through microtubulin, through the nuclear membrane, to the nucleus, the cytoskeleton, to the DNA. It's all one line of communication, right? And so when you think about that, and then he talks about too, like connective tissue is really I think it's not just structural, these structural proteins in our body, but it's the language of the biofield. Because when we talk about, the health of our internal cellular environment, our what we call extracellular matrix, our connective tissue, our, the water within us, that gets compromised by all the toxins we're exposed to, and we're bombarded by all the things that we're talking about. And to keep that communication line as healthy as possible, we need to not only do our biofield therapies, but also our drainage and detoxification therapies.
So my question is, so where does the lymphatic system fit into this? What is it for people that don't know?
The lymphatic system is essential to our health and well-being, and of course for drainage and detoxification. And so if it's new to you, it's a body-wide network of lymphatic, capillaries, vessels, nodes, organs. And its main job is to really help us to clear waste out of the extracellular space. And, that is where cells detoxify too. So it has a really profound effect in draining toxicity out of cells and the extracellular fluids. And then it's also really important for immune surveillance. So a big job of the lymphatic system is to whatever's hanging out in these fluids, we can present to our immune cells and to mount a proper response. When you think about how it works, it's very closely related to our circulatory system. If it becomes stagnant and congested, then there's a buildup of waste. There's a buildup of toxicity, more opportunistic pathogens can thrive.
In terms of what the symptoms that people are experiencing, it's often very much about the brain. With me, right. It was the headaches, and it was the brain fog, and it was other things like depression, anxiety, and all that kind of thing. And so it's all kind of neuropsychiatric and that kind of thing. Yeah. So detoxing the brain is very important. So glymphatic system, can you explain what that is?
Yeah.
And how this fits into this conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important for anyone who's struggling with EMF sensitivity, because again, it's complicated, but at the same time, the more that we just get our lymphatic system draining and optimize the lymph in our brain, then the healthier we're going to be, right? So the glymphatic system is the lymph system in the brain. So it's the glial dependent lymphatic system, and glial cells are different cells in the brain.
There's another piece of the puzzle, as I understand it, this interstitium, and which can be used as a mechanism to detox as well. So I've no idea what this is actually. So you could can you explain what that is and why that is important?
This is, kind of like above the lymph. The interstitium, again, is going to take that information of whatever we're putting that's active on the skin, and then that's going to go into the lymph system. And then that's going to, hopefully, especially the tools that we use, support movement of lymph, decongest the lymph, decongest swollen glands or, areas of stagnation, and also support the immune system. One more thing I would share, just in case people are struggling out there, this is an area unique to bioregulatory medicine in that we look at what we call interference fields, and this is often what when I look at a new patient, I'm like, okay, what in this world might not have been looked at that is keeping the body from self-regulating and healing? And this does tie into the lymphatic system. So we look at the dental piece. So the dental, piece can be a huge area of stress in the body. So that's going to be like amalgam fillings and root canals and cavitations, and that can be a source of toxicity in oral dysbiosis that's affecting the lymph and the vagus nerve and the circulatory system and the meridian system and all of it. So if you're not getting better and you have any of those things, please check that out. And then also scars, and scars can actually be, from injury, from surgery, from traumas to the connective tissue. And the scar tissue can interrupt that communication flow that we've been talking about. Also create more lymphatic stagnation.
So in terms of, concrete steps, what we can do to improve our lymphatic health?
Movement is number one. Hydration. So, being well hydrated. So clean water, chia seeds and different, fruits actually have a high, structured water content. So that's good. And then, so ingesting structured water, clean water, hydrating. Also UV and infrared helps to structure the water within our body. Sleep is going to be important, right? And not only just sleep, but getting deep sleep, REM sleep is going to be important. One of the things that we wanted to share with your community is a topical product that we created to really help with not only the lymphatic system, but really the glymphatic system.
So it's called LymFlow, and it's this cream. What's it made of? How do we use it?
Dr. Marco Ruggiero really helped me create this, and he's done incredible work for the EMF community too with his Proscenium product. And so he's a genius, right? He's an amazing formulator, and I've worked closely with him for years. And he and I developed this cream that essentially has a couple key ingredients. One is chondroitin sulfate, and chondroitin sulfate is part of the extracellular matrix. I didn't mention it, but it's part of the proteoglycan structural proteins that are really important for our not only structural connective tissue health, but also communication. So chondroitin sulfate is part of this to help sulfate and support the extracellular matrix, especially the proteoglycans. And then it has a combination of microbes, probiotics, and then it's in phosphatidylcholine. So it's going to be helpful to get into fat-soluble tissue, as well as vitamin D. So there's a combination of ingredients that really, when it's applied, so it's going to apply to the skin, it's going to get into the interstitium, then it's going to really support flow, so lymph flow, and also your immune system.
I know that for my community, we've got an extra special, amazing 20% off for a limited time with the code Lloyd20. That's what I've been told. So that's why I'm sharing that.
Right.
So thank you so much for making that available to Electric Sense.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Lloyd.
My name is Lloyd Burrell from electricsense.com. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.